Hey guys, welcome back and thanks for checking in. I'm here today with Jade, and Jade came to us a couple months ago. She was very wild. We kept her out in the catch pen, and that turned out to be a wise place to keep her. Just our presence in that pen with her was enough to get her to try to jump the fence. She tried climbing the fence. She tried running through it. So needless to say, she was very wild. She's 5 years old. She's here from a horse and donkey rescue. So we're going to see what we can do with her. So today, what I want to show you guys are some exercises you can do inside in a small enclosed area. And even with a horse like her, we can really get some things done. So we have a couple more months of cold weather, bad footing, and a lot of folks in this area don't have indoor arenas to use. So here are some ideas of what you can do. So first, keep in mind, if you have a horse like this who might be nervous about the world, nervous about people, and you'll see as we go along too, she's still pretty skeptical about us. But can we take in our environment? So horses by nature they're gregarious animals, and they look to the herd for safety, comfort, leadership, and responsibility. So we as horse owners need to learn to be providers of those four things. So as we're in here, I'm going to provide her with safety, comfort, leadership, and responsibility. And I'm also going to allow her to use her 5 senses to check things out in this area that she may be uncertain about. Okay, so first she needs to, so horses are smell, look, listen, touch, taste animals. And I know I just rattled off the 5 senses there, but when they're checking things out, they first like to smell something, and then they'll look and listen. From that point, they'll decide, do I need to leave, or are they going to be curious about whatever it is they're uncertain about? Okay, if they're curious, they're going to work themselves up to eventually touch it, and the ultimate is, can they taste it? So she's been through this barn quite a bit, but just to show you guys, I want to take her around a little bit and just let her tell me if there's anything she's uncertain about. Okay? So I'm going to provide her some leadership. Let's see. Let's go check out these saddle racks. Okay? You can see she's a little more focused on me right now than the saddle racks. So that tells me she doesn't care too much about these. There, she's touching them. Okay? And again, when they put their nose on something, most likely they've already smelled it. They can smell something. They can smell danger from a long ways away. They can smell it some more, of course, but she's touching it with her whiskers. She's touching it with her nose. If she wanted to taste it, I'd allow her to taste it. My nice saddles, I may not allow her to taste those, but let's work our way down to this end of the stall area. See if there's anything. Yep, hi Lola. See if there's anything down here. Okay, she seems a little uncertain about this corner. Maybe because this door is open behind me, she sees stuff going on out here. It might be this fan in the corner. Okay, so right there, notice I asked her to step forward and she said, well, I'm a little uncertain. So I'm going to ask her to step forward again, reward her bravery, and allow her to check things out up here. Step forward. Okay, good. Okay, just watching her body language here. She tells me she's a little uncertain. She's got her eye and her ear looking for an escape. She's uncertain about something over here. I'm going to see if I can guide her nose back. I want her to settle in before I take her away from this spot. Okay, there's another defensive behavior. She's backing away. See if you can step in. Good. If she can settle in, we'll take her away. Okay, right there she's focused a little more on me than on the corner. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. Good. Good. We'll see if she can settle in here and now right here you can see she's a little bit locked up. Something you can do here is take their chin, tip it back and forth. You can stick your finger in their mouth. See if you can get them to chew a little bit. So let me see if we can, there she's coming back to life. Get her to chew, there she goes. Good. Cool. So she's settled pretty well, and she's settled in pretty well over here. So if your horse is a little nervous about being in the barn, there's a simple way you can see she's a little nervous. Just me moving her around like this. Okay. So something else we can do, we can start working on is I like to have, there's 3 basic ways I like to back a horse up. Okay, but before that I need some prerequisites. So you guys can start working on these prerequisites in your barn. And as your horse starts to put these things together, you can start adding little bits and pieces of the 3 different types of the backup. So what I first like to see is, can I guide my horse's nose down towards the ground? Okay, how little does it take? Good. Now a lot of you, your horses might be a little stuck here, and this can be a little more difficult to achieve than you may think. So if your horse gets stuck, something you can do instead of pulling harder down is tip their nose back and forth. See if you can break their pull loose a little bit until they offer to put their head down. Okay? Now that's a very surface level way of doing it. So far, all she did was kind of take her head down. As your communication and your depth of understanding grows, head down eventually should mean stretch out your whole top line. Okay? So right here at a standstill, we can start playing with how many ways can I ask you to put your head down before I put you into motion. Right now we have this working. We're going to add in a few ways that she's not familiar with today, so you guys can see me go through the teaching process. So something we can add into our repertoire is, if I lift here, if I lift your chest up, can you eventually put that together to mean, can you elevate your back and drop your head? Okay? So that's something we can start to play with. We can start to play with, if I add some pressure here, can you elevate your back? Right where my leg would be. Because I want to ride this horse one day. But if I apply my leg here, can you lift your back up and stretch down? Okay? So there's just a couple other ways. Can I add some rhythmic pressure up above your head and ask you to put your head down? Good. Now if she were to get stuck there, something I can do is I can come up in front, rub her, see if I can add rhythmic pressure up top and support with the halter, just like that. Okay, see if we can lift her head back up and pick her head up. Okay, didn't ask you to move. Good. We'll use rhythmic pressure up top. See if she can drop her head just a little bit. I'm going to touch her. Good girl. Okay, so that's another way you can experiment with. Now let's go to the chest. Again, this is very surface level. She's not stretching over her top line yet, but this is where we're heading. Okay. Okay, now this one's brand new, so knowing what's apt to happen is going to be very important. When I start tapping up on her chest, okay, there's several things that could happen. Being that she was fairly wild not too long ago, a lot of times horses will push through the pressure. So she may feel this on her chest and go forward. She also may feel it on her chest and go backwards. Okay. So if you guys go back and visit the 5 yields videos on my YouTube channel, you'll be prepared for the horse to go forward or backwards. So be prepared for what's apt to happen. Okay. So from here, I'm going to see if I can bring my training stick down, and what I want to do is lift up on her chest. Ooh, very good. Okay, now notice she pops her head right back up. So that tells us it's very surface level. She hasn't committed to putting her head down. If she gets stuck here, something I can do is support with the halter. But I want to use my training aids first. Okay, so I'm going to use this herding pressure, this driving pressure. Good. She's almost looking down at the stick there too. So you can see she's not lifting her back up, but she's starting to get the head down. Good. Okay, we're going to come back here to where my leg would hang. Okay, if I were sitting in the saddle. If I were to hug a horse with 2 legs, I might want them to elevate their back and collect. When they elevate, the top line's going to stretch. Okay, so let's see if we can start teaching that. First I'm going to rub the area that I'm going to apply pressure to. I'm going to lift, lift. Okay, now what was cool about that? She didn't necessarily put her head down. Okay, I wanted head down, but she turned and looked at me. For her, that's a pretty big deal. So I'm going to reward that. I'm going to say, you're on the right track. You're on the right track. Good girl. Something I want to point out. You see how she stands? This is how she usually stands just out in the pasture, just out in her catch pen. You can see that her back is kind of in the shape of a U. This part of her neck is really strong. That tells us just how she carries herself. It's a, you know, she's a very anxious horse. She's internally anxious. Okay, so we're going to try to continue to help her with that. Okay, so here I'm going to do the same thing. Lots of rubbing in the areas I'm going to work with. I'm going to tap, lift, lift, lift. Good girl. Something else, if you guys go back and visit the 5 Yields videos, okay, you're going to find that the better your horse understands those 5 yields, the better they're going to understand these little details. Now when you get to working with this, if your horse gets stuck, you can assist by lifting up on their belly and then drawing on their hand. Okay, there she goes forward. Again, go back and visit the 5 yields. We're going to see if she can step back. Good girl. Okay, I told you guys that may happen. Know what's apt to happen and be ready. We're going to try that again. That didn't mean go forward. We're going to touch here, touch here. She's looking at me. That's good. Nope, stay back. Aha, she was thinking that means forward. Good. Nope. Okay, I'm going to move her back away from this horse over here. And we'll take a fresh start. Move her back end over. All right, let's take a fresh start here. Going to reassure her that she's okay. Because again, she has a lot of bottled up anxiety. She's not moving her feet a lot right now, but you guys can probably already all see that she's a tense horse. Good. That was better. Come underneath. I want to rub the spot that I'm going to apply pressure to first, just because of who this horse is. Good girl. Okay. Well, let's visit that on the other side. Okay, she may respond to this stuff totally different on this side. We'll see what happens. Yep. Again, her demeanor's already changing on this side, so I'm going to rub her, reassure her, because she's looking for safety, comfort, leadership, and responsibility. If I can get my words right, maybe you guys will be able to learn this stuff a little better. Okay, here we go. See if this works over here. Well, not quite as well. Just switching sides. This doesn't work quite as well over here. Okay, so what I'm noticing is I'm asking her head to go down. Her nose is still poking out, which means she's tight up here in the pole. So something I can do here is tip her nose back and forth just a little bit. I'm not pulling down on her head. I'm just kind of guiding. Good girl. Okay, that's just some feedback. Just changing sides. She got a little bit tighter up in her pole. It's good feedback for me. Good. Okay, now let's test it out from up above. Can I add this rhythmic pressure? Ooh, very good. She's smiling a little bit there. Yeah. Okay. Let's try it on the chest. She's tucking her nose a bit. That's good. She's looking at me. Okay. Okay, there she's stepping backwards. So I'm going to help her with the halter. She's going to probably rock backwards and forward a bit. I'm going to block her and then lift up. There. Release there. Good. Very good. Something I like that she's starting to do, especially since we've come in here and turned the camera on. She's starting to come to life a little bit and move her feet. There she's finally chewing. So she's bringing some saliva back into her mouth, which is going to settle her gut in a little bit, help her feel a little better. She's starting to connect and blink. So all we've done with her so far up to this point is bring her in, get her cleaned up for the video. So she's not been warmed up. All that internal anxiety is just locking her up a bit. There, she's coming back to life. Yeah, there you go. Okay, let's add this rhythmic pressure up top. Very good, very good. Very pleased with that. Okay, here she's a little locked up. Kind of tickle your tongue a little bit. Yep, good girl. Hi, welcome back. Okay, let's try the chest again. See if she dances around or if she'll drop her nose. There she goes. Okay, moving back to where my leg would be. I'm going kind of quickly through this. There's a lot of information I want to give you guys in a short amount of time. Rub the area you're going to apply pressure to first. We don't want to teach our horses to run away when we start applying our aids. We want her to be settled in. She also needs to understand the difference between energy and intention. If I'm just petting her, there's some energy in this, but there's no intention in it. Okay, if I'm just rubbing her down here, there's energy, but there's no intention. Now there's energy with intention. Can you stretch? Good. Okay, she's thinking about moving her feet. This next time that I ask her to do this, she may move her feet a little bit. Her weight shifted, okay? And not just because she was dropping her head, but her weight shifted a little bit. See if we can tap. Good, great. She didn't move her feet, that's great. What I appreciate too is she's looking at me with 2 eyes and 2 ears, along with dropping her head. Okay, so she's not necessarily stretching her top line and coming down and into it, but she is trying to connect, which is a fantastic step. And there go the feet, like I mentioned before, will probably happen. There go the feet. See if she can balance herself out. There she's going back. There it goes. Good. Since she was just moving her feet a little bit, I'm not going to correct that with the backward and the forward because I don't want to overdo the information that I'm feeding into her mind. If she's just dancing back and forth a little bit, catching her balance, I'll allow her to do that and continue to ask for back up, nose down. Not back up as in go backwards, but back up as lift her back up. Okay? Rub the area. I'm going to say lift, lift, lift. I'm going a little faster. Plus she's sleeping there. Good. Very good. Great. Good girl. Okay? So those are, oh, there's something scary. I was going to stop the video there, but let's see if we can work through this before Krista cuts the camera off. Okay, something spooked her over there. We're going to see if she can come back to me or if I need to move her around a little bit. Okay. All right, you coming back to me? All right, good. Okay, well, I hope that was helpful to you guys. There's some prerequisites to the backing exercises. And check in next week. We'll go through the 3 different types of backing your horse. Thanks for checking in.